Hey there, this Matt. In my video, The Ambivalent Depth, I discussed something, a concept where depth is dependent on the depth is dependent on, for example, mathematics. There's a excessively depthful affair. There's an excessively depthful subject. The more primitive and the less involved in calculations and calculations, I say really calculations, and the more you stick to the baseline of casualized living and the imagination in the sense of philosophy, and the struggles of living, anything that is based on the merit of, well, what I could know. In other words, I started noticing that it kind of clued me in. I want to know more. I told myself quite a few times. I've told myself quite a few times. I want to know more. I want to know more. I feel like life is actually truly limitless in certain very real ways. It's interesting how the universe itself could be considered to be excessively expansive. It simply is. It grows and grows. Grows and grows. Yet all we really know, and as far as civilizations go, all we know, period, is ourselves. Despite the planets that we have believed are habitable out there. The ambivalent depth, the limitless possibilities, two different matters, antitheses, as a matter of fact. That both could be true in different ways. But ultimately, I've been thinking about how it's my limitation that from that realization, and my perspective can only be what forms my deductive reasonings. My experience can only be the thing that forms what I know, and well, I guess the point is that to me, life, it's a little bit, as I've been depressed and so on, depressed, unmotivated, angsty, perhaps. It's really drawn on me sometimes. But I've started to appreciate it once more regardless. Because I don't believe in the ambivalent depth. But I think it had... The video had great things in it. And I had great things to say in the video. I think I evidently did. But the point is, life is measured. But really, life is what you make of it for a reason. It's not just that. We are maximizing, and in a sense we have maximized, in terms of a general perspective, we have maximized the element of theory, it feels like, in the sense that, well, you're calculating the universe. Maybe that says a lot. Always trying to figure out people are always trying to figure out, knowledge and smart people, what it is that really is happening in the world. So, life is beautiful for the reason that, despite the ambivalent depth, even, there is still passion and fruition everywhere. There is beauty in artistry. I mean, as long as I get to live without worrying about working, I'll deal with my problems. I get it. But really, something about it. It's kind of like I have to appreciate life. Anyways. Because the talent I see is everywhere when I really look for it. Music, a very big thing. Creativity, a big thing. There is beauty in us for a reason. There's one thing though. It all seems so serene to me. Sometimes I simply struggle to ask myself, how is it that life is the way it is? Well, it's too broad, I know, of a point, but I guess there's a point to be made in how we are going to be the way we are going to be. And through the surface that we see are the results of it all. Anything beyond that is a matter of the inside, the thinking. That can be hard to decipher. Despite the fact people can make guesses, people can estimate, but still, there's something about how maybe the surface is the most trustworthy aspect of living. The day people think otherwise, it's a bit sad. Maybe I've thought otherwise, I don't know it. I doubt it. In a way, I believe it in another. But really it's sad, I think. Because the truth is, you cannot really know what people are thinking. Even though sometimes, if someone, let's say someone is bluntly hateful, maybe then you can come to some rationales more easily. But if someone is being sweet and positive and inspirational, maybe you should not assume such negativity out of it. If you do. Mine's one of my previous videos where I said that. I just watched it actually. I haven't watched my vlogs for a long time. I started watching them again. I said that politicians are providing good things. It's here and there. It's a really good thing. A good thing to citizens. Of course. And I think that it's disappointing how someone could think Politicians are inherently disgraceful. I sent that video. Think it. If the positive intention turns into a positive result, it's simply admirable. It is a sign of how. It's a sign of how we are a result in so many ways. To grandiosely, fantastically overestimate someone on the merit of wishes and hopes and dreams when the result does not show the same thing, well, there's a case to be made for how that is not a good thing, easily. As while you are having hope and optimism that things will get better, maybe you are avoiding the reality. Maybe you are caught up in some sort of abusive expectation of sorts. I mean, there are people in life, powerful figures that have simply disappointed others, but that received very real support in life. Because there would be love for them regardless, but you could tell in a way it was that they would hope that they would do the right thing. You have to ask yourself, how do we form these mental prospects? I mean, to romanticize without actions being the merit, instead some sort of personality cult. It's not a good thing. It's really not a good thing. It's kind of like, thinking to myself, back when I was much younger, I was thinking that I used to adore Kanye West. The music. I still do quite like the music. Not lately, really. In a few songs. And there's a point in how I believed he was a musical genius. Musical genius with music. But then as he would get worse and worse, people start to notice. I don't have a problem with Kanye per se. I mean, I think maybe not the best guy. A lot of controversies around him. There's a point in how, by having an affection for someone, you'll aspire for them to be greater than they are. And that is a good thing. That is a good thing, certainly. But you have to be sure it has merit. If it doesn't have merit, and it could actually be a very unhealthy thing. It is wanting someone to be better. It is appreciating someone. Those are two lovely things. There's a point to be made in the delusion of the matter if you go into the actual specifics, I think. It is a psychological phenomenon that isn't really super discussed, but is known very well, I think. I think that's how I put it. Maybe it is discussed more than I think. But it's something that says abuse. I mean, the whole abuser scenario tends to imply really that, or just implies, pretty much, maybe not completely, but a big hook, line and sinker, that is that you've actually been physically abused, or you've been mentally abused by that abuser. So the point is, if there is no abuser in your life, maybe there's no need to worry about accommodating those you don't know. There's an interesting thing with that. The cult of personality can be extremely valid, such as it can kind of play into that card, making excuses for someone. And while no one is perfect, some people are less moral than others. It simply is true. But really, it can get complicated, I think. I've argued it before. Morality is a complicated thing. I am formidable, formidably peaceful man, I think. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't think about hurting anyone. I don't get the urge to hurt anyone. I never get it, that urge. There's earlier on in my life where maybe a few times a year or so, maybe a bit more, got the urge to hurt someone. I stopped. Become more measured. I've become more measured and certain of how I see the world that way. Which is my poetic peacefulness, my virtue is to keep to myself that way. Because there's no point in that. I've certainly been attacked. And there's no point in that. It's just a rotten lie to be that way with someone. I think. It's true. I've noticed they're kind of desensitized, numbed in some ways. I am. I really am. I don't always speak about it. I don't see the point in it. Really speaking about it. So I rarely do. I rarely ever do. I think, probably more than I think. I'm trying to remember now. Well, I probably talked about it before because, well, I always think like, oh, I'm going to be a different guy in this video because it was a few years ago and it's the exact same fucking guy. I'm in a different mood, going through a different time, but I can tell I'm the exact same guy. You know? So, yeah, there's that. Really, it's interesting to me. I was talking to my brother about this. I'm just glad. I'm glad that we are a species. Humanity attempts to keep law and order. You notice how on social media, a celebrity means you're probably quite a bit more likely to get called out. Being a celebrity means you're more likely to get called out for a crime. You notice that? I've probably noticed that. The thing is, okay, is that being powerful gives you connections. Connections and power and influence gives you the right to do worse things to get away with it. As a direct result, you assume, therefore, that since there are more opportunities to do bad things, then more bad things are done. You know, it doesn't really necessarily make sense, but it's true, I think. So then, you think on average, you're probably committing crime a bit more people that are popular in the public eye. But I find it a bit strange. Well, it's also a bit arbitrary. What is popularity? Is it being popular as Drake? Kendrick Lamar? Is it being mildly popular? Whatever that would mean. It's all kind of arbitrary. I mean, the billionaires should burn, but the millionaires deserve to live, right? It's kind of arbitrary. I know there's a line to be drawn. Right. There is a line to be drawn. But really, you know what I think? Instead of saying eat the billionaires, let's say examine the billionaires. Let's say judge the billionaires. Let's say interpret the billionaires. Instead of simply dismissing every billionaire as a single entity of nefarious individuals, appreciate that unlike some bozo who did just do nothing in life, or maybe even unlike an interesting person who did do things in life that are interesting, maybe neither of those people did anything nearly as potent. as what that funding and that work provided. Not to bring anyone down. I know. I get it. It's just, I'm making the point where there's a point in how they have a lot of money. I mean, for someone like Elon Musk, it piles up. It's a hell of a lot. I've thought it's a hell of a lot. It's money. But I've always thought he's an interesting guy. Because his ambitions are interesting to me. They're shaping up in a certain kind of way. It's an interesting story. I can't deny it. I've said it before. It's an interesting story for wanting to colonize another planet. You can almost argue it doesn't make sense. But in a good way. I mean, it's an inspirational thing, really. But it's a lot of money. The thing is the conservative viewpoint is clear. They have the right to keep it. It's theirs. They earned it. They did not get arrested for the way they earned their money. They have the right to keep it. They even pay their taxes. It is a non-issue at that point. Oh, sorry. There we go. Sorry. I'll scratch myself because it's kind of itching. Anyways, it's interesting how maybe the biggest point to make of it all is that the consumer rolls onward. Everyone has their position. And we all help each other out. We help them out, they help us out. Simply by participating in the world and not just fucking shit up. We help each other out. We are the consumers. So what does that mean? We fuel the economy. But really, I've noticed that despite my pragmatic kick and my sort of pragmatic kick lately with my videos, one thing is clear. Life should not be about the politician or the money or the business. Life should be about the self, the personal experience, the growth, the change in us all must be positive. After all, we are all bound to change in our lives. No one stays the same. Therefore, change must be positive. There are demons inside of us, you could argue, or inner demons, or struggle that we must overcome. But really, while I've dealt with that, and I deal with that, I just feel the end of the rainbow. Even though I always think it is almost there, in a sense, it just rewards me more and more to live. Because I get to speak, I get to be, I get to love, I get to feel. It is everything to me to live. I think that one of the last people to commit suicide in a certain way, I've been really discouraged a few times. I have to say it. One of the last people to commit suicide. Because there's too much value in living. It is not just important. It's almost like people don't realize they're seeing. Some people don't realize they're experiencing when they commit suicide. Unless it's for very real reasons. Very, very harmful reasons, which I cannot judge, but I can tell you one thing. Even here of it being, social media bullying, suicide as a result. Very tragic. With younger people, extremely tragic, I think. It's extremely tragic. But really, whatever. It's just a fact of life, I guess. It is sad, certainly, but what can you do about what you don't control, right? So, I guess the point is, various things. Various things, but I guess the main point is this. Or limitless possibilities. They are to understand the meaning of life to the fullest. But we are simply to appreciate the normalcy of living. The philosophy is the theory, the dreams. Discussing the soul, discussing heaven, discussing all these kinds of things. The spirituality. So, let us appreciate who we are. Because I know some of the most beautiful people I ever could have envisioned. My friends, my family. They're not just respectful, they're interesting. They're interesting as hell. My friends. I love them. There's maybe very few that actually become my best friend at this point. And it always makes me think of my opportunity to even be able to hang out with them or to get to know them even more. Thank you for watching me. Not sure? Bye. I'll see you next time.